The thing that stuck with me most about skating, or that it's given me over the years, I think the ability to just go back to something for the sake of loving it. And falling is so integrated into us. A lot of people don't fall as much as we do in every level. And where falling becomes normal. And picking yourself up again is normal. And I think that the kind of resilience that skaters have is uncommon in, call it, regular life. You know, as I've gotten older and my body got kind of torn up for a long time, I started to channel some of that energy into academic things. And for unimportant reasons, I ended up like TED Talks and Pop Tech and Foo Camp and all these small groups of highly charged intellectuals, a lot of tech world. And it's an honor, and I feel like an idiot in all the above. I went there and I was thinking about just what you're talking about. I want to share what skating is, how special our community is, because we feel like outsiders, and we all find this mutual sense of belonging in shaping a community by what we do. And what we do is we individuate ourselves, we separate ourselves, and then share it back. I take whatever. I take Mark started Dark Slide. So I take that and add my own bit because I had done Casper slides, so I can pop off a block or what. I take these elements and I help form myself to separate myself and give it back and see the rest of the community grow. And then I feel more invested part, like, of the infrastructure. Like when I went down there, I trip out because I don't come out in public a lot. I really don't. And being back down there, this is my first time at the Berrics, which is awesome. And being down there and all these amazing guys, like, I can't do what they do. And they're come up to me and they just say, thank you. And I'm tripping out because, like, man, thank you for taking what I did and doing what I could never imagine. Because I still feel invested in that. And so what have I taken from skateboarding is, look, I won a bunch of contests and I traveled and I had all the good things that you could ever hope to have happened. That stuff comes and it goes, but the thing that lasts is a thing that keeps growing. It's alive. And that's what the community is doing. And that's something that I have, and it comes from an ethos of sharing and feeling connected with people through what you do. And that is something I take, and that's not something that's often taught. And so that's one of the things that I have loved sharing to the outside, call it the outside world, people that don't look at skateboarding in the way we do, right? And that's been like a joy for me. And it keeps me on my toes because I'm thinking, okay, how do I talk to them in a way that shows the beauty of what we have? Man, they flew me to Camden, Maine. This thing, it was like a precursor or early TED. I don't know who was first, but they keep it tight, where TED's a franchise, right? And TED and TEDx. And man, they fly me there, they give me a driver, they give me all this stuff. I'm scared to death because I'm talking with people coming across the world about, you name it. Newest in brain surgery, the latest in technology and satellites, and then there's me. And I walk up on stage and I start saying, hey, look, I want to share a few things that I learned from my community. And I started with Danny Way, falling and getting up from that video, from this documentary. By what we learn from getting up again and again, it changes you. And the culture that we create of guys who just go out and put it on the line, that imbues into you, whether you know it or not. That shapes how you look at things, and the next thing you know, you're doing it. And I see that all the time, especially with like Mitchie. Mitchie's this sweet little kid that I saw just doing like freestyle tricks. Next thing you know, he's hanging out, skating a little vert, and then he's with Bob and Danny and Tony and these dudes. And he's doing this insane stuff. And he's like, is that supposed to be hard, you know? It's this idea that you now fitted yourself in this culture where this is normal, and you're doing things that Who's ever going to do that? And so what are my takeaways from skateboarding? It's like, man, skateboarding changes you in ways that you could never essentially try or go learn in a few sessions. It comes from years and years of getting back up. It changes you from inside, not from here. In the same way, the culture of it. You know a skater, you didn't have to say much. And it's not just what you wear, and there's just something to them, you know. And that's that tacit knowledge, that bit you can't put your finger on. That's what we have and share. And so by the end of the talk, I have Danny and I have Cardiel, right? Doing these incredible things, you know, Cardiel, essentially recovering from being paralyzed. Like those two words don't even go together. And what Danny did with a broken neck and then jumping the Great Wall. And he didn't do it just, I mean, in a way, I thought that by pulling himself from such depths, it gave him something to jump the Great Wall of China type of thing. I think this is what skateboarding has given us, and it comes from all of it, from the act of doing, from the belonging to it, all the little subtleties that you never really put your fingers on. When I shared that to that community, and again, it is a gnarly community, and I go afterwards, and I had an MIT professor coming up to me, MIT professor. Boy, I wish we could teach that. It's potentially the greatest academic institution in the world. A Yale law professor. I'm going to show that in our class because we need this characteristic, what skaters have. A research doctor came to me. So he was a doctor and a scientist, okay, combined, like a double PhD guy, in the hardest things you can imagine. And he goes, you know, 99% of scientific researchers, from my perspective, I'm talking as the guy, they're not that good. Because there's only that 1% that it takes a quality to reach into the unknown and to do what's not safe or guaranteed. This is what you guys do all the time. It comes from getting up. I wish we could teach that. I wish skaters would become scientists because then we would have more great scientists. All of these qualities, all of them I take from skating. Much less the guys, like I see Daewon, like this almost thing. I see Daewon, and then I see Luis and James, Craig. Like these are the rotten kids that, I mean, Daewon was never rotten. A couple of the areas where, and you're thinking, man, I always knew they were good kids. They're just being kids, and they go through the undulations, and now they're doing what I did, like team manager, apologizing to hotel managers, stuff like that, right? And they come up to me and they say, man, Rod, now I know what it was like, and now I see like Eunice, these guys killing it, and I feel part of it. And I'm thinking, my God, I feel part of whatever you did, and now what you did, I'm taking it all in. So these are the things that skateboarding has given me that is, what could you ask for? Who has that kind of wealth, you know? I think that there's something about skating that's special that way, because we don't have, there's X Games, but come on, man, like these guys doing this stuff, there's no medics, there's no scientists, there's no, you're on your own, you're being chased out of things. You are outside, you are on your own. That quality in itself is fairly rare for people doing high-level athletic stuff, because by the time they're doing that stuff, there's a whole gaggle of people around them willing to help type of thing, support, and you know what I mean. Football teams and the entourages, everything else. Skateboarding, you are on your own. Not only you're on your own, you got to go through adversity. It's illegal. It's the whole idea is not getting. I mean, that's baked into us. So that's pretty rare. That's peculiar to what we do. So I'm not saying we're the only ones. I'm sure there's other amazing, right? But there's something about that that's really, again, it bakes into us at a deep level that helps shape us. And that's rare. Dude, you just know what authentic is. That's the very nature of authenticity, tacit knowledge. Something we all know, but we can't teach. The smallest nuance of facial expression, you know what they're thinking. Likewise with authenticity, and that is the undergirding power that like a electromotive force. It's what pushes out style. Okay, yeah, we think of guys with bad style, and I probably show up. You know what I mean? Like, who's the guy with bad style? A stick man and a guy stiff and all that. I got it, but past that, you can't really capture it. By its very nature, by the time you've defined it and quarantined it to some verbal parameters, you've already missed the point. You know when someone has good style, and the essence of style is authentic to who he is. Remember when, it goes way back, but I just remember Henry Sanchez had such a distinctive thing with his arm when he would push. And of course, man, like, you look up to Henry Sanchez because he was amazing. But you see people pushing around like him, you're like, dude, you're an idiot. You know, you're an idiot. Stop. You're just trying to be like him. That's not you. Yeah, but I'm doing what looks freaking awesome. Yeah, but it's not awesome because it's not you. That's the point. Well, that's what allowed me to do what I did. I think my greatest gift was not so much whatever physical attributes, but it was just stubborn and being isolated. You know? Just loving tumbling something around for the sake of tumbling it around and seeing what comes out. That's always been me. So that's still there. That's me. For sure. I go every night. Night guy. I've always been a night guy since I was a teenager. Hard to manage when I was in school. But you do. Sleep 3 hours, whatever it is. At least I can get that nighttime. There's something about it, man. It's always been my own. And that's when things come to me. My eyes don't go elsewhere, they just stay. Skating's been an internal thing for me. And that's the joy. And the older I get, it's like a meditation. You know, that's just my personality. That it's always been on my own. And then there are times I'd go skate with Daewon. I miss those times. If I would still, God, Daewon would bring John and all those dudes, and we would go skate in the evenings. You know, a few times a week. I was the best. I miss that. If I could have that now, I would definitely do that, but certainly not every night, you know. One of the talks is another TED thing, TEDx in Orange County. I got to meet a Fields Medal winner. Dude, that's so much better than winning a Nobel Prize, you know? They just give those out for math when this guy Cedric, we become friends. And I'm not sure how athletic he was, but he has that thing, the way his mind works, like, I get it. And the kind of math that he did, he was very honest. He goes, I sit in certain algebraic lectures, and after 5 minutes, I don't even know what they're talking about. This is a guy, Fields Medal, travels around I mean, but what he did, the nature of what he did, and I think it's kind of nonlinear dynamics, the essence of that captures a mindset that we as skaters have. And he gets it and can take it with his formalism in a way that makes him special in all the world. But what we have and what we do, how it integrates and expresses through us, similar qualities. And I know just enough about that to feel that and to know that, you know, Cedric should skate. And these guys, if they ever picked up those books, they might be surprised at what they have, how natural it comes. That component has always been in me. I'm a nerd. The part of feeling things out and transposing it into some kind of formalism. There's a kind of mathematics that's beautiful, and it's called group theory. It captures a lot of quantum mechanics. That is something that, look, man, it's not like you read the books, you become a better skater. It's not like that. But the symmetry is involved. It's about symmetry. And what do you think of symmetry? It's balance. And the way we look at things of with the grain, tricks that move with the grain. Well, a hard flip is by nature against the grain, hence hard. Any hard flip, not only hard, inside. These things, they go in tandem to one another. You know one, you feel the other. It expresses in another kind of way. And I think the older I get, the more I enjoy the feel of skating for the sake of it. I remember talking with Tony Hawk. He's just a good friend. We have a lot in common. Way back, I broke my ankle, and I was thinking, oh, it's a sign. No, I should quit. You know, this is so many years ago. And he's like, dude, no, they just break sometimes. Magic angles, which is true. And we were talking about, like, when are you going to know it's time? to give up, to quit. I remember we talked about that when we were even younger. We've been friends a long time. We were like, man, if I can't do it at this level, like this level for us, why bother? How horrible it would be to think, I'm not what I used to be. Cold turkey. Blaze of glory type of thing. Cut it off, like there's honor in that. And I realize now, all these years later, like that is so full of crap. No, man, just the feel. Maybe don't do it publicly, because that could be sad. Oh, you can't do, he's trying to hang on to some dream or whatever. Because we all have that fear of judgment. That's true. I'm like that. I'm afraid of being judged. I don't necessarily want to be seen in public sucking, getting older. But what I keep inside, that joy of just feeling what I do, rolling around, playing around, that's something I'm going to do as long as I can. That's who I am. Who I am. And now coming back here, I go through periods where I don't come out at all. For coming here where it's so legit. I mean, of all places, what's most legit? The Berrics. Coming here and seeing all these dudes come up to me and say, like, I forget that part of it, that they still embrace me. So.